Brain health. Have you ever thought of your brain as a busy city? Imagine highways full of cars, carrying oxygen and nutrients like trucks carrying supplies. Now imagine what happens if those highways get blocked. Traffic jams, accidents, chaos. That's exactly what a stroke is. When the smooth flow of blood to the brain is interrupted, the brain cells starve within minutes. There are two main types of stroke. The first is ischemic stroke, caused by a blood clot blocking the vessel. The second is hemorrhagic stroke, where a weak blood vessel bursts and bleeds into the brain. In both cases, circulation, the free and healthy movement of blood, is the deciding factor between life and disability. Worldwide, stroke is the second leading cause of death and a major cause of long-term disability. But here's the good news. Up to 80% of strokes can be prevented with lifestyle and diet changes. Yes, the food you put on your plate each day can either protect your brain's highways or slowly clog and weaken them. Modern science is now confirming what ancient wisdom always suggested: certain natural foods act like powerful medicines. They lower blood pressure, reduce clotting, strengthen vessels, and keep circulation smooth. In today's journey, we will uncover 5 of the most powerful foods that improve blood flow and protect against stroke, supported by other companion foods that work like a team. By the end of this video, you'll not only know what to eat, but you'll understand how these foods actually work inside your body, down to the molecules, backed by the latest research. And the best part? They're delicious, natural, and easy to include in your daily life. So let's begin with the first food, one that looks simple on the outside but is a true miracle for your blood vessels: the humble beetroot. Beetroot, the natural vessel. Relaxer, beetroot. At first glance, it's just a deep red root vegetable that stains your hands when you cut it. But inside this humble root lies one of nature's most powerful secrets for circulation. For centuries, beets have been used in traditional remedies, from the Roman Empire, where soldiers ate them for strength, to Ayurveda, where beetroot juice was prescribed for stamina and blood health. But only recently has modern science begun to reveal the real reason behind beetroot's power: nitrates. When you eat beetroot, those natural nitrates are converted into nitric oxide in your body. Nitric oxide is like the traffic police of your bloodstream. It relaxes and widens your blood vessels, reducing pressure and allowing blood to flow more freely. This single molecule can make the difference between restricted circulation and smooth oxygen delivery to the brain. A landmark study published in the journal Hypertension in 2015 showed that drinking just 1 glass of beetroot juice daily significantly reduced blood pressure in people with hypertension. This is critical because high blood pressure is the #1 risk factor for both ischemic and hemorrhagic stroke. Think of beetroot as nature's own blood pressure medicine, but without the side effects. Now let's look at how this specifically benefits stroke prevention and recovery. In ischemic stroke, where a clot blocks blood flow, beetroot's nitric oxide production helps prevent clots from forming in the first place. It improves circulation so blood doesn't stagnate. In hemorrhagic stroke, where blood vessels rupture, nitric oxide helps by reducing the strain on vessel walls, lowering the risk of bursting. In both cases, beetroot is protective. But beetroot doesn't work alone. It comes with a team of supportive foods that share this nitrate magic. Spinach, arugula, and lettuce are leafy greens also loaded with nitrates. In fact, arugula has some of the highest nitrate levels of any vegetable. When combined in salads or smoothies, they act together to keep vessels relaxed and open. That's why many nutritionists recommend green and red plates: greens for magnesium and nitrates, and red beets for their concentrated nitric oxide boost. Beetroot also carries antioxidants, especially betalains, the compounds that give it its deep red color. Betalains fight oxidative stress, the cellular damage that occurs during and after a stroke. Studies in Nutrients 2020 found that beetroot extract reduced inflammation and improved vascular function even in patients with metabolic syndrome, a high-risk group for stroke. How can you add beetroot into your daily life? The simplest way is beetroot juice, but with caution. Fresh juice is best without added sugar. A small glass, about 150 milliliters taken daily, has been shown to lower blood pressure within hours. You can also roast beets with olive oil and herbs, grate them raw into salads, or blend them into smoothies with spinach and apple for sweetness. For those who don't enjoy the earthy flavor, beetroot powders are now widely available, which can be stirred into yogurt or shakes. But here's a key point. Consistency matters. The effects of beetroot on circulation are not permanent. Nitric oxide levels rise for a few hours after consumption, then decline. That's why including beetroot or its supportive greens several times per week, if not daily, gives the best protection. Imagine this. Every time you eat beetroot, you're sending a wave of nitric oxide through your arteries, telling them to relax, expand, and flow. It's like giving your blood vessels a yoga session, stretching, calming, and strengthening them against future stress. And here's an extra tip. Beetroot's benefits multiply when combined with exercise. Research in Journal of Applied Physiology 2018 showed that people who consumed beetroot juice before workouts had greater improvements in blood flow and endurance compared to exercise alone. For stroke survivors in rehabilitation, this combination of food plus activity could be a game changer. So, beetroot isn't just a vegetable. It's a circulation enhancer, a blood pressure regulator, and a brain protector. By placing it at the foundation of your diet, supported by leafy greens like spinach and arugula, you create a natural shield against stroke. Now that we've uncovered the power of beetroot, let's move on to our next food, a jewel-like fruit that shines with antioxidants and has been called the blood purifier for centuries. That food is the pomegranate. Pomegranate, the antioxidant powerhouse. If beetroot is the food that relaxes your blood vessels, then pomegranate is the food that protects them like armor. For thousands of years, this jewel-like fruit has been a symbol of life, health, and vitality. In ancient Persia, warriors ate pomegranates before battle, believing the seeds gave them strength and endurance. In Ayurvedic medicine, pomegranate was considered a blood purifier. And today, modern science confirms that this fruit has remarkable powers for circulation and brain health. The magic of pomegranate lies in its polyphenols, plant compounds with extraordinary antioxidant properties. Among them, punicalagin and ellagic acid stand out. These compounds work at a cellular level, reducing oxidative stress and inflammation in blood vessels. Why is this important for stroke prevention? Because oxidative stress and inflammation are the twin enemies of your arteries. They stiffen the vessel walls, make cholesterol deposits more dangerous, and increase the likelihood of clots forming. A groundbreaking study published in Clinical Nutrition showed that patients who drank pomegranate juice daily experienced a reduction in carotid artery thickness, a major predictor of stroke. Imagine this. The walls of the arteries actually became healthier and less clogged after just a year of regular pomegranate consumption. That's food acting like medicine, repairing the very pipes that carry blood to your brain. But pomegranate doesn't stop there. It also enhances the delivery of oxygen to tissues. A 2011 study in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found that athletes who consumed pomegranate extract had better blood flow and endurance. If it improves oxygen supply in muscles, imagine what it can do for your brain, an organ that consumes 20% of the body's oxygen supply. Now let's connect this to stroke. In ischemic stroke, blood clots starve brain tissue of oxygen. Antioxidants from pomegranate help by improving endothelial function, the ability of vessels to dilate and keep blood moving. In hemorrhagic stroke, where bleeding causes secondary damage, pomegranate's antioxidants protect neurons from oxidative stress, limiting the extent of injury. In other words, this fruit not only lowers your risk of having a stroke, but may also help the brain recover better if one occurs. Supportive foods in the same family include grapes, blueberries, and cherries. Grapes, particularly red and purple, Guanis contain resveratrol and proanthocyanidins, which act as natural blood thinners and vessel protectors. Blueberries are packed with anthocyanins, which have been linked to a 34% lower stroke risk in large population studies. Cherries, with their anthocyanins and melatonin, also support vascular health and reduce inflammation. Together with pomegranate, these fruits form a colorful shield against vascular damage. So, how do you include pomegranate in your daily routine? The simplest way is fresh pomegranate juice, but it must be 100% pure, without added sugar. Even better is eating the seeds directly, because they also provide fiber, which regulates blood sugar and cholesterol levels. A small bowl of pomegranate, seeds in the morning or as an afternoon snack can do wonders. You can sprinkle them over salads, yogurt, or even mix them into smoothies with beetroot for a double circulation boost. But here's something most people don't know. Pomegranate's effects are dose-dependent. That means consistency is key. In most studies, participants consumed between 100 or 250 ml of juice per day for months to see improvements. This isn't a one-time miracle fruit. It's about building daily habits that, over time, create stronger, healthier arteries. Another tip, pairing pomegranate with healthy fats like walnuts or olive oil, helps your body absorb its antioxidants better. A spinach salad with walnuts and pomegranate seeds dressed in olive oil isn't just delicious. It's scientifically a stroke prevention powerhouse. Think of pomegranate as the body's internal repair kit. Every seed you eat works silently, scrubbing oxidative stress, relaxing vessels, and protecting the brain's delicate network of arteries. This is not hype. It's molecular science in action. So as you crack open a pomegranate and see the sea of ruby red seeds, remember, each seed is a soldier, fighting for your brain's survival and strength. Now that we've uncovered the antioxidant powers of pomegranate, let's move to our third champion, a group of foods that act as nature's artery protectors, rich in minerals and vitamins, that strengthen blood vessels from the inside out, the dark leafy greens. Part 4. Leafy greens, the artery protectors. When you think about strength, you may picture muscles. But true strength in the human body lies in the invisible network of arteries and veins that carry blood every second of your life. And if there is one group of foods designed by nature to protect these vessels, it is the dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, Swiss chard, collard greens, mustard greens, and others. These greens are like natural medicine, packed with compounds that support the two most critical systems for stroke prevention: circulation and blood pressure control. Let's begin with one of their superstar nutrients, vitamin K1. You might know vitamin K as the clotting vitamin. It helps blood coagulate when you get a cut. But here's the fascinating part. Inside your blood vessels, vitamin K plays the opposite role. It directs calcium away from arteries, preventing them from hardening and calcifying. A large European study, the Rotterdam study, found that people with higher intake of vitamin K had 52% lower risk of severe calcification of arteries and significantly reduced risk of stroke. Think of it as a traffic controller, telling calcium to go to the bones, not the arteries. Next, leafy greens are an abundant source of folate. Folate is vital because it helps break down homocysteine, an amino acid that, when elevated, damages blood vessels and increases stroke risk. In fact, elevated homocysteine is considered just as dangerous as high cholesterol in stroke research. Studies published in the New England Journal of Medicine confirm that diets rich in folate can significantly reduce homocysteine levels and protect vessel walls. But greens don't stop there. They are also rich in magnesium and potassium, two minerals that work like nature's blood pressure medications. Potassium encourages sodium excretion and relaxes blood vessel walls, while magnesium supports smooth muscle relaxation in arteries. Together, they maintain a gentle, steady blood flow to the brain, lowering the likelihood of clots forming or vessels bursting. What makes leafy greens even more powerful is their nitrate content, especially in spinach and arugula. Like beetroot, these nitrates are converted into nitric oxide, which improves endothelial function and widens arteries. In fact, a randomized controlled trial in Hypertension journal found that participants who consumed nitrate-rich spinach daily experienced significant reductions in blood pressure within just 1 week. Imagine a simple side dish of spinach having an effect comparable to a mild antihypertensive drug. Supportive foods in this group include broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage, all cruciferous vegetables. These contain sulforaphane, a compound that activates detoxifying enzymes and reduces inflammation in vessels. A large cohort study in Australia reported that women who consumed more cruciferous vegetables had significantly less arterial plaque buildup. Together, dark, leafy greens and crucifers create a protective wall inside your arteries, keeping them flexible and clean. Now let's connect all this directly to stroke. Stroke is not just about clots or bleeding, it's about the health of the vessel wall. Weak, inflamed, calcified vessels are prone to rupture or blockage. Leafy greens strengthen these walls at multiple levels by reducing oxidative damage, removing excess calcium, lowering blood pressure, and improving vessel flexibility. They don't just lower the risk of having a stroke, they actively create resilience in the brain's circulation network. How do you bring leafy greens into your daily routine? The key is consistency and variety. A handful of spinach in your breakfast smoothie, a kale salad for lunch, sautéed Swiss chard with garlic at dinner, it all adds up. Unlike some foods that must be eaten in large amounts, even 1 to 2 cups per day of leafy greens shows measurable vascular benefits. A powerful way to maximize absorption is pairing greens with healthy fats. Vitamin K and other fat-soluble nutrients in greens need oil to be absorbed. So adding a drizzle of olive oil, avocado, or a sprinkle of nuts over your salad is not just tasty, it's scientific. In fact, studies show that carotenoids from spinach are absorbed up to 15 times better when consumed with fat. Here's another tip. Lightly steaming greens preserves most nutrients while reducing oxalates that can interfere with mineral absorption. Raw salads are excellent, but a mix of raw and cooked greens provides the best balance. Supportive companions include lentils and beans, which provide extra folate and magnesium, amplifying the green's effects. Whole grains like quinoa or brown rice add fiber, further lowering cholesterol and stabilizing blood sugar, another stroke risk factor. When combined, greens, legumes, and whole grains create meals that are nutrient-dense, filling, and protective at the same time. Think of leafy greens as your arterial maintenance crew. Day after day, they scrub, repair, and reinforce the very vessels that keep oxygen flowing to your brain. Skip them, and your vascular highways weaken over time. Include them, and you create a lifetime insurance policy against strokes. So the next time you fill your plate, don't think of greens as just a side dish. Think of them as brain armor. With every bite, you are actively strengthening the walls of your brain's lifelines. Now that we've uncovered the vascular strength of leafy greens, let's move to our next hero, a food group that doesn't just protect vessels but actively lowers dangerous cholesterol and inflammation: fatty fish and omega-3s. Part 5. Fatty fish and omega-3s, the anti-clot warriors. When you hear the word fat, your first thought might be of something harmful. But not all fats are created equal. Some fats damage blood vessels while others protect them like shields. Among the most powerful protective fats are the omega-3 fatty acids, found abundantly in fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, and trout. Why are omega-3s so important in stroke prevention? Because they directly address 3 of the most dangerous stroke risk factors: blood clots, inflammation, and abnormal heart rhythms. Let's begin with clotting. Stroke, in its most common form, ischemic stroke, is caused by a blood clot blocking an artery that feeds the brain. Omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA, eicosapentaenoic acid, act as natural blood thinners. They make platelets, tiny cells, in your blood less sticky. That means platelets are less likely to clump together and form a clot. Unlike synthetic blood thinners, omega-3s do this gently, reducing clot risk without completely shutting down your body's clotting ability. Next is inflammation. Chronic inflammation is like rust on a metal pipe. It slowly damages the lining of blood vessels, making them vulnerable to plaque buildup and rupture. Omega-3s, especially DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, have potent anti-inflammatory effects. A landmark study published in Stroke Journal showed that individuals with higher omega-3 levels had up to 27% lower risk of ischemic stroke. That's not a small effect. It's a powerful protective shield built from something as simple as the right type of fat. But omega-3s go even further. They stabilize heart rhythms, lowering the risk of atrial fibrillation, a common heart condition that dramatically raises stroke risk by sending clots from the heart to the brain. Research from the American Heart Association confirms that diets rich in fatty fish reduce both atrial fibrillation and sudden cardiac death, making omega-3s essential for heart-brain circulation health. Now let's zoom in on the brain itself. DHA, one of the key omega-3s, is a major structural component of brain cell membranes. It keeps neurons flexible, improves signaling between them, and even supports repair after injury. In the aftermath of a stroke, DHA helps limit neuronal death and promotes recovery. In fact, animal studies show that DHA supplementation reduces the size of brain damage after stroke and improves functional recovery. So omega-3s aren't just preventive, they're also supportive in healing. Supportive foods in this category include chia seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds, and walnuts. These plant-based sources provide ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, a precursor to EPA and DHA. While the conversion rate of ALA to EPA-DHA in the body is low, around 5 to 10%, including these foods daily still contributes to vascular protection. They also deliver extra fiber, magnesium, and antioxidants, amplifying their stroke preventive power. For vegetarians and vegans, algae oil supplements provide a direct source of DHA and EPA, offering the same benefits as fish-based sources. How much do you actually need? The American Heart Association recommends at least 2 servings of fatty fish per week, which equals about 200-300 grams. For those who don't eat fish, a daily algae oil capsule or 2 tablespoons of ground, flaxseed or chia can help fill the gap. But here's a crucial point. The balance between omega-3 and omega-6 fats matters. Modern diets, especially with processed foods and vegetable oils, are overloaded with omega-6 fatty acids. While omega-6s aren't bad in themselves, too much compared to omega-3 creates a pro-inflammatory environment. Ideally, the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio should be around 4:1 or lower, but in many Western diets it's as high as 21. This imbalance drives inflammation and stroke risk. By consciously including more omega-3-rich foods, you bring this ratio back into balance, lowering vascular stress. Practical ways to add omega-3s to your meals are endless. A grilled salmon fillet with lemon and herbs, sardines on whole grain, toast, or a tuna salad with olive oil and leafy greens all combine protective nutrients in one dish. For vegetarians, chia pudding made with almond milk, walnuts sprinkled over oatmeal, or a smoothie with ground flaxseed can provide daily protection. There's also fascinating research on omega-3s and blood pressure. In a meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials, omega-3 supplementation was shown to reduce both systolic and diastolic blood pressure significantly. Lower blood pressure means less strain on delicate brain arteries and lower risk of hemorrhagic stroke. Think of omega-3s as your body's anti-clot warriors. They patrol your bloodstream, ensuring blood stays smooth, vessels stay flexible, and the heart beats in steady rhythm. Without them, platelets stick, vessels inflame, and circulation falters. With them, the pathways to your brain remain clear and resilient. So the next time you see a piece of salmon or a handful of walnuts, don't just think of it as food. Think of it as investing in the most precious asset you have, your brain's lifeline. Now that we've seen how omega-3s keep blood flowing freely and protect your arteries, let's turn to our final powerhouse food, the humble but mighty nuts and seeds, nature's compact packages of stroke-fighting nutrients. Part 6. Nuts and seeds, the vascular guardians. When you look at a nut or seed, it may seem small, almost insignificant. But inside these tiny packages lies an incredible concentration of nutrients that protect your blood vessels and brain. In fact, nuts and seeds are nature's way of showing us that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest power. Stroke. Prevention isn't about one nutrient. It's about a network of protective factors working together. And nuts and seeds bring that network in a compact, ready-to-eat form. They combine healthy fats, plant proteins, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals in just the right proportions to protect circulation and reduce risk factors for stroke. Let's start with their healthy fats. Nuts and seeds are rich in monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats, which lower LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol that contributes to plaque buildup in arteries. At the same time, they help raise HDL cholesterol, the good, cholesterol that sweeps excess fat away from vessel walls. This dual effect means fewer blockages and smoother blood flow to the brain. But that's only the beginning. Many nuts, especially walnuts, are rich in ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. As we discussed earlier, omega-3s reduce clotting, calm inflammation, and protect heart rhythms. Walnuts, in particular, have been studied extensively. A large analysis in Circulation showed that people who consumed a handful of walnuts several times a week had a 17% lower risk of stroke. That's a powerful benefit from such a simple habit. Seeds like flax seeds and chia seeds go even further. They are some of the richest plant sources of ALA omega-3s, but they also deliver lignans, unique plant compounds with antioxidant and estrogen-like effects that protect vessels. Flax seeds have been shown in randomized trials to lower systolic blood pressure by 10-15 points, a change significant enough to prevent thousands of strokes if applied population-wide. Imagine a tablespoon of ground flaxseed daily acting like a natural blood pressure medicine. Then there's magnesium, found abundantly in pumpkin seeds, almonds, and cashews. Magnesium is vital for vascular relaxation. It helps artery walls stay supple and prevent spasms. Low magnesium levels are linked to hypertension, arrhythmias, and increased risk of stroke. By including magnesium-rich nuts and seeds, you give your vessels the minerals they need to stay resilient. Vitamin E is another hero nutrient found in almonds, sunflower seeds, and hazelnuts. As a fat-soluble antioxidant, vitamin E protects LDL cholesterol from oxidation. Why is this critical? Because oxidized LDL is the form that triggers inflammation and plaque buildup inside arteries. By preventing oxidation, vitamin E cuts off one of the earliest steps in the development of stroke-causing blockages. Supportive foods in this category include legumes and whole grains. While not nuts or seeds, they share similar vascular benefits by delivering plant proteins, fiber, and minerals. Together, nuts, seeds, and legumes create a plant-based powerhouse for stroke prevention. What makes nuts and seeds unique, though, is their synergy. Each type offers something slightly different. Walnuts for omega-3s, almonds for vitamin E, pumpkin seeds for magnesium, flax seeds for lignans, sesame seeds for calcium, and sunflower seeds for folate. When eaten as a mix, they provide a complete package of vascular protection. So how much do you actually need? Research suggests that just a small handful per day, about 30 grams, can deliver significant benefits. That's roughly a palm-sized portion of mixed nuts or 2 tablespoons of seeds. The key is regularity. Occasional snacking won't make a difference, but daily intake builds long-term resilience in your arteries. Practical tips? Add a spoonful of ground flaxseed to your morning oatmeal. Snack on a handful of almonds or walnuts instead of processed chips. Sprinkle chia seeds into yogurt or smoothies. Toast pumpkin seeds and use them as a crunchy topping on salads. Each of these small steps creates a habit that nourishes your brain's lifelines every single day. And here's something fascinating. Nuts and seeds don't just reduce stroke risk, they also improve brain recovery after injury. Studies show that diets enriched with omega-3 rich nuts enhance neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire and heal itself after stroke. The combination of antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds, and brain-friendly fats makes nuts and seeds a natural rehabilitation food. Think of nuts and seeds as your vascular guardians. They stand at the gates of your arteries, keeping cholesterol in balance, blood pressure steady, and vessels flexible. Day after day, they protect silently, reducing the silent buildup of risks that lead to stroke. So the next time you crack open a walnut or sprinkle chia on your breakfast, remember, you're not just eating a snack, you're building resilience in your brain's most delicate pathways. Now that we've explored the protective powers of nuts and seeds, it's time to bring everything together. In our final section, we'll summarize how these 5 foods, beetroot, pomegranate, leafy greens, fatty fish, and nuts and seeds, work as a team, along with supportive foods, to create a daily diet that shields you from one of the most devastating health threats, stroke. Part 7. Conclusion and Integration. Building a stroke protective plate. We've traveled through some of the most powerful foods nature has to offer, each with its own unique ability to protect the lifelines of the brain. From the nitrate-rich beetroot that relaxes arteries, to the antioxidant-packed pomegranate, to the leafy greens that guard vessel walls, to omega-3-rich fatty fish, and finally, to the concentrated power of nuts and seeds. Each food plays a role, like a musician in an orchestra. Alone, they are powerful, but together, they create a symphony of protection against stroke. So how do you put this knowledge into action? The answer is simple. Build a stroke protective plate. Start with a base of leafy greens, spinach, kale, Swiss chard. These provide vitamin K, folate, magnesium, and nitrates to keep arteries flexible and clean. Add to this a serving of beetroot, either roasted, juiced, or grated raw, to boost nitric oxide and enhance blood flow. Sprinkle in a handful of nuts and seeds for healthy fats, omega-3s, and antioxidants. On the side, include a portion of fatty fish twice a week or plant-based omega-3 sources daily. And finally, crown your plate or your snack bowl with pomegranate seeds or juice, bringing in a flood of polyphenols that repair and rejuvenate vessel walls. This isn't about restriction, it's about nourishment. These foods don't just prevent disease. They actively energize you, sharpen your mind, and fuel your body. Imagine finishing a day where your meals didn't just fill your stomach, but also rebuilt your arteries, calmed inflammation, and trained your brain to resist one of the deadliest health threats. That's the power of food. Supportive foods round out this protective plate. Whole grains like quinoa, brown rice, and oats stabilize blood sugar and cholesterol. Legumes like lentils and beans add extra folate and fiber. Fruits like blueberries, grapes, and cherries provide antioxidant reinforcements. Olive oil and avocado supply healthy fats that help your body absorb all these nutrients efficiently. And don't forget hydration. Adequate water intake supports smooth circulation and prevents thickening of blood. Science confirms what ancient wisdom has whispered for centuries. Food is not just fuel, it is medicine. A study in The Lancet estimated that poor diets account for nearly half of all stroke deaths worldwide. But the reverse is also true. A nutrient-rich, plant and omega-3 centered diet can prevent up to 80% of strokes. That's not a small number. It's a revolution waiting on your plate. But here's the secret. Consistency matters more than perfection. Eating these foods once in a while won't change much. It's the daily habits, the small choices repeated over time, that reshape your arteries and brain health. Choosing walnuts instead of chips, spinach instead of fries, salmon instead of processed meat. Each choice is like depositing into a savings account, the savings being years of healthy brain function and freedom from stroke. And remember, prevention isn't just for the elderly. Stroke is affecting younger people more than ever before due to lifestyle, stress, and poor diets. The time to start protecting your brain is now. Whether you're 25 or 65, every step you take towards a healthier plate rewires your future. So let me leave you with this image. Picture your brain's arteries as shining highways, carrying life every second of every day. You have the power to decide whether those highways remain clear and strong, or whether they rust, clog, and collapse. Every beetroot, every handful of nuts, every pomegranate seed, every leafy salad, every bite of salmon is like maintenance on those highways. Silent, invisible, but life-saving. If you've stayed with me through this journey, it shows you care about your health, your brain, and your future. And if you want more science-based, practical guides on how food can transform your life, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button if you found value today, and share this video with someone you care about, because knowledge like this can literally save lives. Together, let's build a community where food is seen not just as something to eat, but as a powerful tool for preventing disease and living longer, sharper, and healthier lives. Stay strong, stay nourished, and remember, your brain's health is in your hands, one bite at a time.